This is Wake Up Canada News. I'm Brad Wilder. This special report comes from Winnipeg, Manitoba, the last board meeting of the year for the Louis Riel School Division. Just 2 weeks ago, elected school board trustee Francine Champagne was suspended because of memes she posted online. Days after her suspension from the school board, Francine was fired from her teaching job at the University of Manitoba as well. This is the first meeting since that dreadful day, and over 50 people have shown up to support her. The meeting began with the school board attempting to remove all parents and concerned citizens from attending the meeting, using capacity numbers as an excuse to clear out the room. When that didn't work, the board tried to make some of us stand out in the hallway. It was at that time the board made the decision to challenge the citizens in the room that were asking important questions. Words were soon exchanged between the trustees and concerned parents. The board decided that they needed to take a 15-minute recess break. Now, during the recess, there was some confusion because a board member wanted to end the meeting altogether. Meanwhile, 2 other trustees left the room and didn't return. They abandoned the meeting along with their duty as publicly funded trustees. Again, members of the school board left the room to discuss how they were going to handle this situation. The crowd had voiced unexpected and challenging questions and concerns that really do need answers. When the board returned, they announced that they'll proceed with tonight's meeting, but under a limited capacity. The board trustee chair, Sandy Namath, made it clear that they would only discuss 3 items on the agenda and then move to the open forum. That's when I found out that the board had called the police. I was told by Marlene Murray that I wouldn't be allowed to record the meeting. The board became concerned when they saw that I was videotaping the meeting for this newscast and called the police. In fact, everyone there was recording using their phones, yet they were only concerned about me. It was then that I was told the police were on their way and I would be removed. I decided it was in my best interest to leave because others in the room were going to capture the video footage anyway. There was a lot of confusion and discussion about the board's accomplishments over the last year and a lot of discussion about the future of education within the school board and within the province of Manitoba itself. Some of the individuals who sit on that school board seemed surprised at individuals who stood up and spoke that evening. There were only 4 or 5 speakers at best, and that's because the board made a limit on the amount of time allotted for the open forum. They proceeded to tell everyone there, concerned citizens, parents, concerned grandparents, and the open forum would only last for 15 minutes. That's it. Well, that inspired some really passionate speeches, including this articulate 16-year-old young lady's presentation.
You guys said questions or comments. She hasn't. Ask some questions in here, but I don't need your answers because I already know, and I know you like lying to. No offense. Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can we get your name?
Turi. It's Turi. I'm 16.
Yeah, but she goes to this. Okay.
I went to LRSD up until grade 7.
Okay.
I'm homeschooled and have been since school shut down in 2020. So I'm not exactly sure how everything works now. But when I was in school, we could not be punished for something we did off of school grounds. So I want to know where it became a thing that you guys have rights to suspend someone from their job for something they said off of school grounds. I'd understand if she said something to a student during a classroom, but to my knowledge, she complied to your agenda in board meetings. So I question your reaction to her simply stating her opinion on her social media. I also want to bring up the fact that we're entitled to our own opinion. And if you want to say that there being 2 genders isn't a fact, then I can say for sure freedom of speech is indeed a fact. And you guys think you have dictation over whether she gets to state her opinion. You said she disregarded your policy specific to human sexual diversity. Excuse me? These are children and you're talking about sexual diversity?
That's right.
You all have a clear opinion. You ask her to keep hers to herself, but spread your opinion on children and make them question if they're a girl before they know the ABCs. Do you get how wrong that is?
Yes. That's right. Wake up, you people.
It should be up to the parents to teach their kids about the LGBTQ, not up to you to teach them to question the identity they were born with and keep their parents from knowing that's what you're doing. I did a newsletter on education. I looked into how you go about speaking on the LGBTQ, and it's how to tell them about this community and to be supportive and love everyone. You tell them if they think they might be a part of it.
Keep going, young lady. You're doing good.
You're doing great. Again, I say, do you not see how wrong that is?
Terry?
Yes.
I just want to let you know that our public forum is limited to 15 minutes. Which we have.
I don't think so. You speak long.
It's 1 more minute. Thank you. Mine too. Mine too. I have one final thing to add. Bear with me. When my brother was young, he enjoyed wearing me and my sister's princess shoes. He liked the sound of them. He would clack through the kitchen for hours. If he was in school today, doing that, I can say for certain he would not have grown up to be a boy. He'd have been encouraged to go on hormones that cut your lifespan in half. But you don't teach that part, do you? He's an adult now, and you know what he wears for shoes? Cowboy boots, because he likes the sound. How many children like my brother are going by a girl's name right now because you taught them it wasn't normal to be interested in girls or boys' things? They must be the opposite gender or confused. My point here is that if you want to tell Francine she can't state her opinion off of school grounds, her opinion, by the way, that is to protect kids from having boys in the girls' bathroom and from confusion, then you have no right to teach your opinions to children in the classroom. You need to take a long look at yourselves and what you're doing to these children. There are
Her words echo the sentiments of the crowd, of the concerned citizens and parents in that room that night. Her speech was met with the sound of applause and cheering conveyed by the energy that only a passionate 16-year-old can deliver as she tried to tackle a difficult job of unmasking the ideology of this trans movement. Her efforts didn't go unrecognized. She's a very intelligent young lady that no doubt has great parents as role models. Now, let's move on to the interview we did with Marcel. Marcel is one of the individuals that submitted a request with the Louis Riel School Division to actually speak tonight. It was at 1:59 that afternoon, the same day as the board meeting. Marcel received an email from the division that confirmed his request to speak for 5 minutes, and then it was approved. He was good to go. But when he got to the building doors that night, school trustee Chris Sigurdsson was waiting to question Marcel about why he was there. Marcel said he was there to speak. And that's when he was notified by Chris Sigurdsson that he wouldn't be allowed to speak. We'll let Marcel tell the rest. It's Brad Wilder on location here at the Louis Riel School Division with Marcel Boin. Marcel has a story to tell. I'm going to let you take it away.
Well, I applied, I filled out the form to be able to speak today, and at around 1:59 this afternoon I got a reply that my application had been accepted and to be here at 6:30 and somebody would meet me. When I got to the door, the gentleman at the door said, no, he says, nobody, you've been denied. That's not what my reply was from them.
And you have that documentation at home?
I do.
Great. We would love to see that here at Wake Up Canada News so we can attribute that to the story that we're telling. Obviously, how did you think things went tonight inside?
This was a rigged meeting. They don't want to hear from anybody. They're forgetting who their boss is. We're not their bosses. We're their bosses. They don't boss us around, but they don't want to hear from us.
It's our tax dollars that are paying their wage.
Exactly. And they have an agenda. I find it so hilarious that we're talking about federal elections that were tampered with from China. Louis Riel School Division doesn't need China to interfere because if they don't like a trustee, they just suspend the trustee.
Exactly right. And that's exactly what's happened to Francine Champagne, and she's been suspended for 3 months without pay. I'm Brad go ahead.
They should all be fired. Never mind, Francine's the only one who has integrity out of that whole bunch, and she will stand up for what she believes in, and that's what the kind of people, those are the leaders we need, not what we have right now.
Francine has a lot of support here tonight too, doesn't she?
Yes, very. I'm very glad to see all the support that is here for her because I think she's getting the royal shaft.
100%. Thank you very much, Marcel. Thanks for being on the show. Our next speaker is Mr. Wayne Sturby, leader of the Manitoba Party. Wayne is a retired corrections officer that came in order to show support for suspended school trustee Francine Champagne. Francine was elected to represent her constituents, he said. He says we all came forward tonight to support Francine and those that voted for her to represent them on the school board. Parents and others in the community want their voices heard, and they want Francine to express their beliefs using her right to freedom of speech. Wayne covers a lot of ground with his words, but one thing is clear, and that's Wayne and the Manitoba Party's commitment to Manitobans. This is a hot topic moving forward, he said, that many party leaders won't address, but Manitobans are demanding change, and Wayne is making a commitment to listen to those that want to make a much-needed change to publicly funded education. I had the chance to sit down with Wayne right after the meeting. Here's our discussion.
From what I do know, of looking really, really seriously into education, and I said to the school board tonight that as the leader of the Manitoba Party, education is our number one hot button ticket. This is the thing I am most passionate about.
That's right.
Because this involves children, our future, the next generation, those who are going to be leaders in the business community, leaders in politics, and the thing is that the harm that they're doing to these children. One of the statements that they made tonight before the meeting started was talking about, and it's in their literature too. They talk about making sure that they create a safe space, a safe community. And I thought, you bunch of liars, you bunch of hypocrites. You think that you're creating a safe place? All you have done over the last few years is to engender fear into these kids. You made them afraid of a simple virus that posed no threat to them whatsoever. You took away their school, you took away their friends, you took away their social life, you took away their sports, you took away everything, and you told them nonsense, something that is completely unscientific. Stay home. Don't go outside. What doctor in his right mind is going to say something like that? No, it was all about instilling fear into them. And now they want to make these kids fearful of a contrary idea. They want to make them fearful about hearing the truth. They want to make them fearful about listening to a doctor who actually cares about them.
Hey, they're making them fearful of thinking for themselves.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Brad. They take away that the incentive. They take away the motivation to think for themselves. And when they're ready to propose puberty blockers and hormone therapy and mutilation, Brad, when one of their favorite ideas to bring up is that if we don't have gender affirming care, we're going to have lots of suicides. That when a child is encouraged to have functioning body parts removed, healthy body parts removed, that's a form of partial suicide right there. You're taking away part of their life. And you don't have the courage, you don't have the integrity to tell these kids that you're never going to be able to use those things again. You'll never get them back. And all of these hormones and puberty blockers that you're taking, it's going to consign you to a life of dependency on pharmacare. You will never be free. It's going to be expensive, and your life is going to be debilitated. You think that's safe? What hypocrisy. What a lie that is. Safety. You must be kidding.
You can find that entire video on the Manitoba Party's Rumble channel. Now, Dr. Ann Gillies, Ph.D. She has spent over 25 years in private counseling practice, working extensively with trauma survivors, seeing lives restored and transformed. Ann retired from practice in 2019 to focus on advocacy and political reform for the traumatized and even those struggling with unwanted sexual attractions, and for the most vulnerable, our children. I spoke with her earlier today, and she provided me with some statistics you need to understand. The number of children aged 6 to 17 diagnosed with gender dysphoria increased by 70% between 2020 and 2021 in the United States. The number of American children on puberty blockers is skyrocketing right now, data shows. Natal girls now comprise from half, 90% of clinical adolescent samples. 2 years of gender identity service for minors. Overrepresentation of natal girls with severe problems in adolescent development from Adolesc Psychiatry Mental Health. The majority had existing diagnosis of an autism spectrum condition, ASC, or would be likely to obtain one, according to Ann Churcher and Anastasia Spalatis and their book, Taking the Lid Off the Box, The Value of Extended Clinical Assessment for Adolescents Presented with Gender Identity Difficulties. This came from the Clinical Child Psychology and Psychiatry, Volume 24, Number 2, in 2019. Cross-sex identifying children with family conflict, 65.8%. Cross-sex identifying children, parental mental illness, 63.3%. Parents are in that number. 63.3% cross-sex identifying children, their parents have mental illness as well. Cross-sex identifying children, loss of important figures via separation is 59.5%. Cross-sex identifying children that have been bullied is at 54.4%. I wonder who's doing the bullying. Cross-sex identifying children has a history of maltreatment, also common at 39.2%. That comes from the adverse childhood effect. Neither hormones nor surgeries have been shown to reduce suicide in the long term. What are we doing to these children? There is no evidence hormones or surgery help gender incongruent patients. Gender-affirming surgery conclusion lacks evidence, according to AMJ Psychiatry, wrote back in 2020. These are the facts. They are undisputable. What you are being told is misleading and evil. You can see for yourself in our show notes as we provide all the evidence for you to see. We do wish Francine luck going forward, and we're there to help. This is Wake Up Canada News. I'm Brad Wilder. Remember, you can find us on BitChute under Wake Up Canada News. We're also on Rumble under Wake Up Canada News. Thanks for watching. Till next time, please remember, you're the voice, and it's time to make it count. I'll see you next time.